I'm pleased to be here today, but I'm not pleased. It shouldn't require people to have to fight and struggle like this to get the government's attention to maintain and sustain good jobs. I wish I were actually able to be at Queen's Park putting the finishing touches on a strategy to ensure that we were going to sustain these jobs. But I can tell you it's going to take a struggle to get that done. Now let me tell you why I'm proud to be here, though. I'm proud to be with you because you are the people who have a history of taking on these struggles and winning these struggles for working people. That's what it's all about. Now, I didn't just come here to complain. There's two points I want to get across. One is the government is wrong to just sit on their hands and do nothing and say, oh, I feel your pain. I can get you a greeting card for $1.50 that says, I feel your pain. We don't need governments to feel our pain. We elect governments to do something. And in this case, something can be done. I draw your attention to other provinces, specifically BC. In the early 90s, BC was faced with the possibility of losing 100,000 good manufacturing jobs. Now, they could have just sat on their duffs the way the McGuinty government is doing and done nothing. But they chose to be proactive. They created an office, an independent office called the Jobs Commissioner. And in that office, they put people who knew something about manufacturing. They put some people who knew something about finance. They put some people who knew something about exporting. They even put some people who knew something about labor relations, how to bargain a collective agreement. And then they did some studies on some of the plants that they thought might be in trouble. And after they'd done the studies, they went out to plant after plant after plant, and they said to them, look, we think you might be facing some challenges. Will you sit down and talk to us about what we can do to reposition and sustain these jobs? In some cases, the companies came to the table. The workers were always willing to come to the table. The union was always willing to come to the table. In some cases, even the financing people in the background, the banks, were willing to come to the table. In one way or another, though, they forced companies to come to the table. In some cases, it was a matter of hydro rates. I know how important hydro rates are here. In other cases, it was a matter of getting some export financing. In other cases, it was a matter of getting some short-term bank financing. In other cases, they had to change the product line to move to a different product line. In some cases, they did rebargain the collective agreement. But the history was, after 10 years, they had sustained 75,000 of the 100,000 jobs who were at risk. Good jobs. That's something that could be in Ontario. We shouldn't sit. The government should not sit on its duff and just wait for companies to say, oh, we're going to close up or we're going to lay off. Get proactive. Start some sitting down with companies and unions and workers and communities working on the solution. Let me tell you what one of the issues is here, and I know it. We've got a hydro system now in Ontario where companies don't know from one day to another what their hydro rate is going to be. And you know it. You've been faced with situations where the company's saying, oh, hydro rates are too high this week, everybody go home. You can't run an operation like that. We need an industrial hydro rate that workers and companies and communities can depend on. So you can plan and you can be sure that you're going to be in production a year from now. Other jurisdictions, Quebec, Manitoba, Saskatchewan, BC, have done this. Why can't the McGuinty government, or why won't the McGuinty government do it in Ontario today? It can be done, it needs to be done. I just want to draw to your attention the contrast. You know what? It took Dalton McGuinty 8 days just before Christmas to raise his own pay by $40,000 a year. Well, if he can devote 8 days to raising his own pay by $40,000 a year, then why isn't he here in Hamilton today at the table, sitting down to devise a strategy to sustain and maintain these jobs?